This college football coverage is sponsored by Bob Moore Kia of Edmond.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everyone. Going back over last week's Texas Tech game, I just want to compliment the character of our team to be on the road, be without our starting quarterback, be without another captain, Julian Wilson, Sterling Shepard, big play guy. To answer the way we did and to come back in the second half and take a commanding lead there at the end of the game was really pleasing to be able to have put it together the way we did. Started off slow in some cases, in the game, but again, there's a lot of positives there. I thought Cody Thomas in his first start really performed well. With a lot of great decisions. He made a couple of poor decisions throwing the ball, but other than that, he still made some good throws. He made some great decisions running with the football and really handled the line of scrimmage again away from home, getting calls, changing plays, pulling the ball for some option reads, and, really performed well. Samaje Perine was exceptional in the way he ran over 200 yards. Running through tackles, getting extra yards, really was a huge spark for us. Samaje and Aaron Ripkowski also had a fantastic game. They were our players of the game, just in the way they played. I thought the way we played together in the second half, defense came up with some key stops, third and fourth quarter. Offense answered with some great running the football, answered to separate 42-24 there to 1 second to go in the game. Young Jordan Thomas gave up a play, but other than that play, he, for a true freshman, came out and really played well in the way he played. Players of the game there for us defensively were Sanchez, Eric Stryker, and Dom Alexander. Really had good games. So anyway, it was again great to come back and answer coming from behind and to win that way, and leads us to Kansas, a team that's really playing well. Lost a really tight, hard-fought game to TCU, 34-30, just the other day. Prior to that, beat Iowa State really bad. I was just watching yesterday and today the Texas game that's 13-0 in the fourth quarter. With Texas. So a team that's really playing hard for Coach Bowen. I think Clint does a great job. Known him a long time. Their guys are really playing hard, playing well. And so we've got to keep making improvements and be ready to host them here at home here this week.
Injuries,
we're still a little uncertain. Trevor will not be ready to play. I know that. Other than that, Sterling will be. He didn't re-injure it, but he knew in the game it wasn't ready to do what he needed to do to explode and get beyond people. So we'll see how Sterling, got our fingers crossed that he'll finally be ready to play here this week. Outside of that, Geno Grissom will be out, for a few weeks with the sprained MCL. And then other guys have a few light injuries that we'll just have to see as we go through the week. Pardon me? Julian Wilson, at this point, will not play unless something changes in his in the way they have to cast his hand. But I'll update later in the week.
How long do you anticipate Trevor being out? I mean, because last week you were thinking possibly maybe he didn't play. Has things changed?
No, nothing's changed. He just hasn't progressed maybe as far as the doctors wanted to see him, and I'm not going to detail all of that.
Bob, in the secondary and the back end with your safeties, guys got behind you a couple of times in the game. Is that more due to inexperience, or are they busting plays, or is that just the
No, it wasn't a bust. The one we were in a two-man concept, and the guy broke contain. A couple of them are off of scrambles where, things can break down. One of our, took a bad angle on one and ran into the corner. I mean, he's the help safety. He's over the top. He got to adjust his angle and go to the ball. Another occasion off of a scramble, we miss a guy coming from the opposite side of the field. The deep safety comes up to a guy that's up in front of him. He's got to hold, the deeper spot. So yeah, it's just some of it's inexperience, and those guys are good players though, and I feel they'll continue to make improvement. But it's, and those. in the last play of the game, it's a simple, easy coverage. It shouldn't happen, and they just got to be able to, to run deep and stay with them, change their angle, and make the play on the ball.
Are you surprised that you're into the 11th game and you'd think that would happen early in the year and these guys would not have the same answer?
Again, what are you going to do? They got to adjust their angle and make a play on the ball.
Do you what you're describing? Do you practice better than you sometimes play, or are these issues that you're not shocked about because you do see them coming up in practice through the week?
Well, no, I don't see them coming up during the week, but the game can be a different story. And again, when your pocket breaks down and the guy's out running around, that happens to everybody. We need to do a better job adjusting what they're doing back there, their angle, and playing it, but also keeping the guy in the pocket and not giving them 6-7 seconds for things to break down. A lot of times they're in great position. That's why the quarterback's pulling the ball down, and now we've got to do a better job keeping them in there and not letting them run around for another 4 seconds.
Getting back to Sterling, the last 2 games, it seems like you guys practiced all week but don't know what you're going to be able to get out of him on Saturday. How does that affect?
Well, his practice has been limited. He's gone, and again, so we don't know. It's like any pool. You got to wait and see until it's fully healed what he's able to do.
Is there any thought next week you're off, maybe just setting him down for a week and then hoping you can get him back for Oklahoma State?
Well, Sterling's been really good at not re-injuring it, but testing it and seeing what he has there, and he was smart to pull himself the other day, Saturday. He knew it wasn't going to hold up. So I think as he goes through this week, he'll do the same thing.
You had Derek Woods and Cortez Johnson both dressed out at Tech. Can you talk about their progress, how they're coming along?
They're doing okay. Derek had a bad ankle sprain there for quite a while and is back off of that now, and hopefully he can start doing some of the things he did special team wise. Especially he was great in that regard a year ago, and we need him back doing some things that way, and Cortez is doing okay too.
Coach, can you put into perspective what Samaje has done as a freshman? Some of his numbers are comparable, in some ways even favorable, to Adrian Peterson's freshman year.
Yeah, Samaje's been exceptional. I've said it a lot, but I'll say it again because it's a compliment to him just how mature he is beyond his age. He really conducts himself in every part of his life like he's a senior. He's a great worker, very serious and diligent at preparing, and in the way he practices, the strength and conditioning, the way he works is really special, and again, you realize that when you have your older players really, marveling at how he works and how strong he is in the summer, you got something pretty special.
Bob, he clearly likes contact. Do you like that he likes contact?
Of course. Well, I'd like to see him run through a lot of those times. Not a lot, but there's quite a few of those where he's up through the line of scrimmage for about 15 yards before he gets contact, and that's what you prefer. I prefer the first one he took to the house where he didn't get hit very much, but they're not going to, they're going to be in better position to tackle him at different times. So yes, I like the way he has a great knack for his size to absorb hits and blows and still run through them, and to keep moving. So he's got a real knack for that.
He said, I asked him about that. He said that it was sort of a survival mechanism he came to because he realized he wasn't fast enough to run around guys, but he could run over them. That's an attitude that he's adopted, obviously, for a while now.
Yes, it is, and he's got the frame to do it. He's so powerful and so thick that if you can't get your arms around him, he can handle the blow and then a lot of times keep going. And he, as he said, he does it well.
The way Cody read the reads, is that the same way the quarterback's been doing it all year long?
Yes. We had a naked boot on one of them that was a little bit different, but a lot of the other runs are some of the same ones we've been running.
Bob, was this a great day for you blocking on the edge? I mean, did Bill have one of his better games and Rip and those guys out there?
Yeah, definitely. The guys up front, Darrell Williams had another exceptional game. Tyrus was really good. Adam Shedd, those were the guys that Coach Bedenbaugh singled out. And then Blake and Ripkowski, of course, are part of that group that really, they executed really well in their blocking assignments and there's a lot of good creases there for those guys.
Back and watch Samaje's long touchdown run again when I got home. I think Rukowski may have gotten 2 blocks on that play.
He did.
Chipped the guy and then went forward and got another one.
He's exceptional.
Yeah.
At Rip for that position again is sort of unheralded, but he is so good blocking and so physical in how he does it, and and then he had a couple of touchdowns too. He did a great job in those short yardage situations as well.
Bob, you're best when you have good tempo, you guys thrive, it seems, on offense. Talk about the balance there between wanting to go fast, but then at times needing to stop.
Yeah, I see sometimes that isn't the case. The tempo, the interception was a tempo play, and our tempo didn't allow us to pick up the edge blitzer, and because he didn't see him in time, and then he's in Cody's face, so late in the game when we were eating up the clock looked pretty good when we weren't tempoing, and blocking assignments are correct, and we're still able to run the football and execute the way we were. So I don't mean to, there's times tempo's been really good. There's been times I haven't been pleased with it. We've tempoed before and tempoed ourselves right into a bad play, so it's kind of like everybody. It can be a little hit and miss.
You recruited Cody and Justice also as guys that came out of high school running a zone read offense. How much does that show itself out kind of when they start practicing how well they run that?
Yeah, it shows. I mean, we want, they're good athletes. They're guys that have size, can run, can throw, and I really thought, and Cody will get better this week, I think, with more time. But he really had a great week throwing the ball through the week, and missed some throws in the game that I know he's capable of making. So, but anyway, we knew, that these guys would be able to run it to a degree. Again, they're not going to be Michael Vick maybe, but they're going to, as you saw, they can be effective and get you 60 to 100 yards.
People want to judge, him based on what they saw. That's just what people do, judge what they see. But, he's not a guy like a Sam Bradford that won a job, had all fall camp to take first team reps. I mean, how are your expectations for a guy like Cody? Do they change versus a guy that you put in there to start at the beginning of the season?
Well, you still expect him to do well. I mean, he's practicing every day and working, and I feel confident, he'll even make a bigger jump this week, having been out there that whole game and having the experience of it. So, yeah, you have to, within reason, you realize he hasn't been out there as much, but again, we still expect him to do well.
Bob, you committed to the run in the second half and passed only 3 times. In the first half, it was 17. I know you've mentioned part of the reason to that, but how could you not have been committed as much at the beginning as you were in the second half?
Well, again, so circumstances with penalties were on a couple of drives. The one drive where we have the interception, it's kind of hard to knock. He pulls the ball, a run-pass option, and hits K.J. Young for a slant for about 20 yards. Then he throws a first down bomb to Deron Neal that gets it all the way down to the 20-yard line or so. And then he has the interception. So, I mean, so some of it, and then after that, again, penalties. You get 1st and 20 a couple of times. It's hard to run, to stick with that.
Coach, is there a player?
And again, in the second half, that situation wasn't there. We didn't have any holdings. We had, we had better operations. We didn't have penalties. And, so one, and then Samaje breaks the one run. So, anyway, we just didn't feel we needed to throw it all. And late in the game, especially once you have the lead, and it's so effective what we're doing.
Coach, is there a player or players that you can think of from past years that Samaje's running style reminds you of?
No, not really. I'm never one that other players remind. They're all individual and different, so not really.
You mentioned Rukowski in short yardage earlier. There's a little bit different. You had the quarterback underneath the center and handing off to the fullback. A little bit different version of the short yardage situations you had before.
Yeah, and again, Aaron's a really powerful guy, and with the size and the way the offensive line was blocking it all, it worked well.
What's your thoughts, Bob, about the 11 a.m. kickoffs? is third for the home games.
Yeah, it's
it hurts the
different.
merchants. The fans hate it.
Yeah, it's different. I'm surprised that usually they're a little better at spreading it out, evenly or somewhat. I don't know that anything can ever be totally even, but you sure wouldn't expect to get as many as we've had. One team, to play always at night or to play always first thing in the morning. That's a little different. So I'm sure Joe Castiglione would talk to the powers that be that decide all that that needs to be a little more balanced. I think.
You lost Gino Grissom, probably I guess maybe a bowl game or whatever. Just talk about what that leave the board in your defense.
Yeah, Gino's played really well with pressures, with just being a physical presence out there. Devontae Bond has played and been playing really well too. So Devontae will just have to step up and take over for Gino. I feel sorry for Gino being a senior, but hopefully, he can be back in time for the bowl game.
You and Mike have always been super animated, but maybe it's just all the extra camera angles, maybe it's just the TV stuff, but it seems to me, because of certain circumstances this year, you guys have gotten into it with some players, just in their face. I don't know what's being said, obviously, but is there a downside to that? Is there a downside to being upset where everyone can see that on the sideline?
Not really. I mean, the players, it's just frustration in certain circumstances, and that's being expressed. Those players and us, we have great relationships. So, there's things that are discussed that we feel should be handled, and if they're not, we want to point it out to them. And again, they've got their reasons why, and so anyway, again, our guys know that we got a great concern and love for them, and that's expressed daily.
I know you answered the Florida question on their conference call, but for television purposes, can you
Yeah,
answer?
I've for a lot of years here, it's just been the same. I'm not a candidate for any job. The only candidate I'm a job for is Oklahoma, and whether anyone ever contacts me or not, I never say one way or the other, and won't start now. So that is something. Anything like that is always private. But again, I'm not a candidate for any job.
You said that the only job you were interested in interviewing for was this one. Does Joe make you interview every year?
I didn't know I said that. I thought I meant again the only job I'm a candidate for is this one, and is what I meant to say. And again, all I'm concerned about is Kansas this week. So period. And I'm not going to talk about it anymore.
Bob, you mentioned that you've known Clint Bowen for many years. Can you sort of describe your relationship with him and what you respect about him?
Oh, just I guess just through Mark Mangino being a defensive guy, watching their defense. We had a lot of similarities in what we do as well, and I just always appreciated Clint's. They've always played really good defense. Really a good guy, just the person that he is, and a competitive guy, and again, I think he's doing an excellent job there. So,
you've obviously never had to do this, but it seems like taking over on an interim basis like that would be a pretty challenging thing. Is that something that you respect when you see a guy doing it and doing it pretty well?
Yeah, it would be a challenge, and Clint is doing it really well, and that doesn't really surprise me. I thought when they named him, I thought, boy, Clint will do a good job, So, he may get the job. He's a KU guy, and again, I've watched his, what he's done over the years, and I think he always has done a really good job.
Bob, back to Samaje for a second. He mentioned that you all keep a knockdown stat for backs and fullbacks, I assume. Is that something you've always done, and why is
Coach
that?
Gundy has. They do it, individually in their position meeting rooms, and so sure, knockdowns and I'm sure yards after contact, those kind of things, and he does them both well. He's a great blocker out in front too, whenever he has to do it.
Bob, does not having an interest in a top 10 job mean that if you look at the big picture, are you pretty comfortable now, even after losing 3 games? Are you pretty comfortable that you're still kind of on track, and that not for this year, but looking forward, that playoff and championship, you feel you're close?
Well, obviously this year that's not happening, but yes, we have been. And again, would we just a year away from being 6th in the country? That would have been 2 spots out. So, yeah, so absolutely.
People like to make a big deal, almost like it's a negative for some people that you've been here for as long as you have. But for you, I mean, how does it stay challenging for you after this much time in one place?
Are you kidding me? Every week's a challenge. So no different than it was the first day I got here. In fact, it was a lot more challenging then than it is now. So I haven't forgot that. But I got great character guys to work with every day, and keep working with them daily to try and improve. So it's it's the same as it always is.
Probably some coaches, I would presume, sometimes leave to recharge themselves, but I guess you're saying you've never felt like you needed to. I'm interested to know.
There's a lot of reasons why people leave and don't leave, and you can speculate on all of them the way you want, but I'm not going to.
You feel as fresh and excited about every new season as every other season?
Absolutely.
How do you recharge?
I didn't know I needed to. I need to. Next week when I don't see you guys for a week on Thanksgiving, I'll recharge.
Well, isn't it important your relationship with David Bourne and Joe Castiglione?
Absolutely. I've always, your relationship with your president and athletic director are, as you were saying, are always a major factor in in staying at a job or leaving a job, and how supported you are, and we're supported in every possible way, and that is a strong and major reason why I've had a lot of opportunities over 16 years to go elsewhere, and why I've chose not to.
How important is it to you to see all the things through that you've got on the drawing board right now?
Well, again, it's important. Just like, what's important to me is this game this week, the following one, and then, continuing trying to develop. But, everything's important.
Did you know going into the second half Saturday that you were going to call a different type of offense? And I'm wondering if you did, if that's part of the reason why you ran the ball so much better than you ran it in the first half when you ran it in the first half.
If we'd have had a bunch of holdings in the second half, it probably wouldn't have turned out that way. We didn't. We played cleaner. We got made some big plays running the football and stayed with it. Now, the first half, we went in confident that Cody would throw the ball well, and in some cases really did. I gave the example of the one drive. He goes down first and 10. We pick up about 70 yards throwing the football, and then we miss a guy off the edge, and he forces a ball in there that gets intercepted. So, and then the other occasions, we got 1st and 20. It's not as easy. And then you hand the ball off, and you got 2nd and 18. So it happened differently in the second half.
So there wasn't any sort of get ready because we're going to run the ball and sort of a mindset changing. That didn't happen.
Well, we wanted to run the football even, again, more in the first half. But again, I gave you the situations why, all right? So the second half, we felt we would get back, and again, let's not have the holding penalties. Let's not put ourselves behind the chains, and execute, and that's what we did.
Bob, you really don't know what an option quarterback might do on the corner until you get out there in games, because you have the blue jersey on him a lot. You've seen Cody throw enough to kind of know that he can throw it. Did it pleasantly surprise you a little bit of his innate?
That's probably a good way to say it, pleasantly surprised, because I knew he could run. But as you said, until you're in that live situation when everything's happening faster or can he make a guy miss and find his way around? And he really did it. He did it well, which you said pleasantly surprised you, because I know he's a good athlete. But I thought he made great decisions, and then again the timing too, waiting for his blocks, a time or two, started inside, got the defender to come in where I think Samaje comes in, pins him, then he bounces around. So I thought he did a lot of really natural things that really helped him.
Coach, you said things are similar to when you first came here, but how different is recruiting, though? Probably a thing that's changed as much as anything since you first came here.
I don't know that it has. You know, recruiting's always been, you know, it's always challenging. You know, so I don't see that it's changed all that much.
Social media. Has social media changed?
Yeah, I mean that.
A new tool, but it's the same old grind.
Yeah, it's just a different way of communicating. But we've always been trying to communicate one way or another through recruiting, and yeah, it's just a different way of doing it now.
Is it a little more challenging also when you have the fact that Baylor and TCU have come up a little bit in this area?
You know, again, there's always been competition in recruiting. I don't remember when there hasn't been. So again, I don't see that that's any different. You know, like I said, if you're always battling somebody. So.
Not in the game as much because of formation and what you were doing in the running game, or did he get?
Yeah, it's a little bit of it. Yeah, Micaiah's had a good game. You know, when he was in there, picked up a big third down. Cody threw a great ball on a 3rd and 10. You know, in a 2-man concept and ran a great route. Cody put a good ball on him. So yeah, he's doing okay.
Looking back, Bob, when you changed the offense, you had Sam, you had Landry. What factor that you changed and want to do the zone read stuff and all this?
Well, just you want to keep a lot of the passing game the same. You just want to be able to add that component to it, to get a few more, you know, to be better running the football, and to have that dimension, you know, as part of the offense.
With Cody getting his second start, the first home start, what do you want to see from him in his preparation and his lead up to the game?
Yeah, but it's more consistency in the game. Well, lead up is just to practice hard and well like he did a week ago. And then when he's in there, I again you can see more consistency throwing the football, because I saw him all week really throw it well. And you know, and in the game he didn't do it as well as I think he can. And again, let's be aware there were gusts of 20 to 25 mile per hour. Anyone that was down on the field would have felt that, you know. So a little bit of, you know, but again, I still think he can execute some of the passing game better.
Is it important to you in terms of Blake being your emergency guy that you do give him that opportunity to keep being your tight end? Because I noticed you didn't have him in warm-ups as a quarterback or anything.
Yeah, we need him at tight end, you know, and the way he's playing. He had a really good game again the other day, so you know, we've been used to playing in that with him on the field that way, so you know, hopefully we can keep doing it.